Good to have Jordan Palmer, our quarterback guru, quarterback coaching consultant, back here on the program. Good to see you, Jordan. How are you?
I'm doing great. Sorry for being tardy. I appreciate you guys just being absolute pros.
You're the man.
And then, Rich, always finding a way to connect it back to how you're the centerpiece of NFL history, major moves. It's just you have an amazing way of tying it all back to.
I'm going to show it to you on my mug.
I never disagree either, though. I never disagree.
There's an I in my first and last name, Jordan.
There you go. Okay. There you go. There's no me in it, I don't think.
Nope. That's what you've got. That's what you've got. All right, Jordan, I give you the floor on Jarrett Stidham, what you know and what you think.
Yeah. Boy, I hate the way that he's getting his first start. You know, I've known Bo Nix since he was a little guy, since he was a sophomore in high school, and I'm such a fan of what Bo's done. But, you know, for the audience, I texted Rich and go, hey, I got some thoughts on this. Because I think Stidham, not right now, but for the last 2 or 3 years, is one of the best kept secrets, most unknown, high-quality player, insert other line that makes sense and is congruent with those statements. But I don't think anybody knows until this weekend how good Jarrett Stidham is. And not because I've known him since he was little and spent a lot of time with him. But I think there's some data here. You know, you go back to those 2 starts that he had let me go back earlier than that. So he was drafted in the 4th round in New England to back up Brady. And that offense at that time, it was not just Tom Brady being a great player. That was like year 9, I believe. It was year 9 or 11 of Josh McDaniels and Tom Brady running that offense together. Mm-hmm. And Brady at that time was in year whatever, 16, 17, something like that, okay? So when you have a 4th-round pick rookie come in and win the number 2 job, it is not because you throw it good. It's because you learned the offense. It's because we can actually put you in a game and you can run our offense. Well, let's go back before that. What colleges did Jarrett Stidham play at? Okay. I'll save you the airtime here and so letting you guys guess.
Auburn.
But yeah, he went to Auburn. Yeah, but he started at Baylor. So if you think about the offenses that he learned before he got to the NFL, he ran, I draw a blank on his name, the guy that got in trouble, Art Briles. Mm-hmm. He ran that system, which was Art Briles came from high school. So that was a high school offense, no progressions, no responsibility at the line of scrimmage, no protection accountability. Then he played for Gus Malzahn, who outside of Cam Newton, I haven't seen that offense explode. So he entered into the league, and I did Jarrett's draft prep, and I would say as far behind anybody as I've ever had in terms of understanding offense. Okay? He went from that to making the New England Patriots comfortable with him being the 2, with Tom Brady in his 9th year of work. I mean, that's like walking into calculus, but you're only in 5th grade. And then learning calculus. Okay? So that's how he entered the league.
Yes.
He played a little bit, didn't play well in New England. But what happened when Josh McDaniels got the head coaching job with Raiders? The first transaction was trading for Jarrett Stidham. Okay? Not really known about. Then when he goes to Denver and he's there, and then you got Russell kind of sliding, and then you got Sean Payton coming in. I mean, they paid him $15 million to go there. Yeah, I don't know, but I think he's like one of the highest paid backups in the league. Okay? And then last year, I can't say who, but there was a team that offered a pretty good ransom for him to trade, and they wouldn't trade him. So they know what they got there. And I think the guys on the team know what they got there. And outside of making predictions in the game, I think if Drake May and Jarrett Stidham both play at their best, I don't think it's much different. And I don't really see Jarrett having a floor, because the 2 starts that he did have in the Raiders, we can say are irrelevant, but he shredded he shredded the Chiefs, and then he shredded the Niners. And those are the 2 teams that played in the Super Bowl that year. So I hate the way this has happened, but optimistic is an understatement when I think about how well Jarrett Stidham might play this weekend.
Yeah, because Drake May is an MVP, maybe. You know what I mean? Like what you just said.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
but it's the high highs and the low lows. See how many turnovers they have in the last 2 weeks. And I am a huge Drake May fan.
Right.
Huge Drake May fan. So I'm just saying the high, if they're both, if you take the ceiling and the floor, I think their ceilings are sort of commiserate. And Jarrett can run too. I just don't see Jarrett in this point in his career, the floor being that low in this big of a game.
What do you think Sean Payton's doing with him right now and for this week?
I think they're running their offense, getting timing with certain guys that you don't get during the season. Then flip it over. If I had to pick one guy to come up with the game plan and call a game this weekend, and I was getting my first start in 3 years, I'd pick Sean Payton or maybe one other guy.
Well, McVay.
You know what I mean?
Well, McVay did it with Baker in just
No, I do
48
McVay
hours,
or
right?
Shanahan, the same people you guys would pick. I'm just saying he's
Right.
on a short list
Right.
of people that you would go, all right, if I'm getting thrown into that situation, I want this person coming up with the game plan and this person calling it.
Do we need to have you pulled over and sobriety tested right now, Jordan? Because that's what some people are thinking. I'm only giving voice because you're really, I mean, you are really painting a rosy picture of something that normally would not be. I mean, I've got all sorts of stats here about somebody with his lack of experience, not just career-wise, but just in recent memory, getting a start like this, not performing well against, by the way, a Patriots team that made C.J. Stroud look very, very, what's the word for it? Bad. It's the only other way to put it.
Yeah,
Jordan.
you know, I think I'm in this so deep.
Yep.
I just don't look at stats and history as much. There's a ton of stuff I don't know anything about. There's a bunch of players I don't know anything about. When I got guys that I do know a lot about, and you start to go, okay, how could I predict success this weekend for Jarrett? Which is what I'm doing, and the comment section is going to be awesome. And but I'm going to go back and read it on Monday. I'm not going to go in your comment section now. I'm going to go back on Monday.
Okay.
And I go, okay, what would lead me to believe and have that confidence? And I even go back to college and I think about like, well, he's a 4th-round pick, and he was at Auburn. They didn't win a national championship. If you go back and look up his best games at Auburn, it was like winning the Iron Bowl and beating Georgia, and they were both the #1 team in the country when he beat them. And so his history of doing this and going back and being around these types of situations, this is a massive situation. This is a Disney movie if this guy goes 2-0. But he's got the makings. He's got to go out there and play well. I just don't have concerns with him handling the moment, running the offense, throwing the ball accurately, or getting himself out of bad situations. And honestly, you got to go 4 for 4 if you're going to play well this weekend in those categories.
Okay. What do you think about Darnold and Stafford in that game, Jordan?
Man, this is I think it's the two best teams playing. Sometimes it plays out that way. But this is there's the chess game between McVay and McDonald. You know, when you got Shanahan and McVay in that division,
Yep.
You got to have somebody who can. You can't hire a coach who's just going to try and outscore him and hope that you get the next Shanahan or McVay. So John Schneider did an unbelievable job with the hire of McDonald, somebody who is not going to back down to scheming against those guys, and not going to try and slow down those offenses, but going to try and attack those offenses, and then to get the personnel that they've gotten the last few years on defense. The last defense in the league I would want to play against right now is the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. And both quarterbacks have showed that when they're at their best, they're MVP candidates. And they both have had games where they've turned it over. They both have 4 interception games this season. Sam's was against LA. But I think we're going to see the two best teams in the league play their best. And I think this comes down to some similar situation that we saw the last time they played. I don't know if it's the 2-point conversion walk-off game winner, but I think this is going to be an absolute duel to the end. And I like the Seahawks here. I mean, I drink the Kool-Aid. Sam's a client of mine.
Yep.
But I still like the Seahawks. And I think even without Charbonnet this week, that's going to be tough. But you know, they've had a two-headed monster running back by committee all year. So it's just going to be on Kenneth Walker to step up. And then for them to scheme in more high percentage throws so that that would replace essentially another 5 to 6 carries. And I trust Kubiak to design that and have some quick passing game kind of replace, call it 5 to 10% of what the running game would have been in this game. But they got to be high completion percentage throws with opportunities to get yards after the catch. So I think this is going to be one of the most fascinating games to watch I've seen in a while, because both defensive coordinators, both offensive coordinators are A+ in every category. And they both have teams that are really disciplined, do the right thing, play selflessly. It's not the superstar playmakers that are on the field this weekend. It's just the execution that we're going to see by, I think, the two best teams.
Couple minutes left with you, Jordan Palmer, so you can get at least the feeling back in your hands. You've been holding your iPad this entire time out there in the practice field. I appreciate that. He would never say it, so if you don't mind speaking on his behalf, which I'm sure you don't really want to do, but I'm going to ask you to do it. What would it mean to Sam Darnold if he's the first quarterback of his draft class to play in a Super Bowl? What do you think?
I think nothing. Yeah, I
Really?
think nothing. Yeah.
Come on.
Going to a Super Bowl would mean the world. Winning a Super Bowl would mean the world. So this is an interesting discussion. Okay. Go back to Sam Darnold's draft class. I had him and Josh.
Yep.
Okay. One of the things from a psychological perspective, when I work with quarterbacks, elite guys at that level, is I need to figure out what motivates them. So people are largely in one of two groups. They are internally motivated or externally motivated. So the example would be Sam Darnold is internally motivated. So I'm not a strength coach and I don't run guys, but let's say that we had a hard workout and I wanted them to get 12 reps of something hard. If I wanted Sam to try and get 12, I would tell Sam, last time you got 11, see if you can get 12. Josh is more externally motivated. Doesn't really care what he did last time. He just wants to beat that guy. So I would tell Josh, Sam just got 11. Okay. Neither is right or wrong, by the way.
Right.
Neither is good or bad.
Sure.
But it's important as a coach, and I would say all the way down to my first and second grade flag team, to understand what motivates guys. Sam is incredibly internally motivated. So he is motivated, I think, to get to the Super Bowl and win it because of how hard he's worked, because of his teammates, because of the sacrifice his family, and all the cliche things that's true of everybody. But other guys, and it's not wrong, would want to be the first and would want to win before that guy and would want to have more success than that guy. So that's why my answer is, what would it mean for him to be the first guy of that draft class? I think nothing.
So then, knowing Josh Allen as well as you do, who would you counsel the Bills to go hire as his next head coach? And if you want to just give me the type, go for it. You want to give me a name? Obviously, I'll take it. What do you think?
Yeah, I gotta avoid names here a minute, but I think somebody, the media is going to talk through, how successful Sean McDermott was, and so they have to be more successful than that. You can't have somebody who hasn't. I don't know that it comes down to that. I think they have, I will say, the most unique culture in the NFL. That's a subjective opinion. I don't know every single culture,
right?
But man, they got something special. And you hear guys talk about it. You hear Joey Bosa and these guys that come and go. And Von Miller was talking about it, but I've lived it. I've thrown with these guys. I've been out with these guys a ton, weddings and stuff like that. It is a unique culture. So one, that's the most important thing. If somebody's won 3 Super Bowls, but not a culture guy, I don't even think that person's getting an interview. Okay. So the culture that they built, there's no point in changing it. Okay. That's not the problem. And then I think you need somebody who says, my fastball as a coach is whatever they determined was not Sean McDermott's, whether you want to talk about late game management, any of these different situations. You want somebody where that's their fastball. And then there's some things you probably want to change on the rest of the staff. And then there's some things you probably don't want to change on the rest of that staff. And a quick shout out to one of my all-time favorite coaches, Aaron Kromer, retired as the O-line coach.
Oh.
I would say after a long, incredible career, he had a huge impact on me. He's stepping into retirement. And so honestly, head coach is massive, but they need to get an O-line coach in there too, because that's the best teacher I was ever around at the O-line position. So there's a lot of things they got to address there, but somebody needs to come in and add to the culture, not change it. And somebody needs to come in and be world-class at situational management. And then, the messaging of coaches, the year round, they don't just get up in front of the team and wing it and talk. The messaging that's curated, and I know teams that hire people to help them do this. This guy needs to be an incredible messenger and hold everybody accountable. And the more they can do that and allow these guys to play free and let that culture be the reason they win. I definitely, in Buffalo, I trust. I know there's a lot on the internet right now. I have a lot of trust in Brandon Beane. I think he's fantastic, and I think they're going to be able to get a Super Bowl here soon with these very big decisions they got to make.
So it doesn't have to be somebody who's in Josh's ear and calls the plays for him? Doesn't have to be?
I don't know specifically what he wants, but Josh has ran several systems by now.
Right.
Okay. They ran the ball so well this year. Josh is another guy that I don't think he cared about winning another MVP. It was all Super Bowl or bust. So the fact that they were running the ball as well as they were, and weren't putting up the passing yardage, I thought that was probably irrelevant for Josh, because at this point in his career, what he's done, what he's made, it's all about winning a Super Bowl. And so these are big decisions that they got to make.
Last one for you. Fernando Mendoza, is he the first overall pick in the National Football League draft? Jordan.
I don't know enough about these pass rushers and these other guys at the top, but
right.
I think Fernando can come in early and have success. Been around him a lot, talked to him, got to meet him right when he was on his way to Cal. And so watching this thing rise, I was early on Fernando Mendoza in terms of thinking that this guy's going to be special. And, the goofiness that you see in the interviews, that's him. He's as pure as they come. And everybody loves him, by the way. His teammates love him. I think it's funny. The comment sections are pretty funny on interviews that he does, but the reality is his teammates love him. And that's a huge piece to be able to, there's what he's done this season, the Heisman, the national championship. There's those things that can dictate your draft stock. And so it can be great for your career. But then there's just the reps that you get. That Heisman speech is, more people watch the Heisman speech than they watch the NFL Hall of Fame speeches. I mean, that's the biggest stage you'll have. I've helped a lot of guys write their speech, and like, this is your moment, right? And so the experience of going through that, the experience of handling these playoffs, to go back home, where he's from, the school that didn't offer him, and then beat them there and come back and really, be the reason you win. It's also the reps, not just what it does for your draft stock. It's those types of reps, handling those moments that lead me to believe that you can have success earlier in your career. And we're seeing some guys right now, some young quarterbacks play at a high level, who've had similar success.
Jordan, thanks for the time, man. Appreciate you getting off the practice field, hopping on for a few minutes here. And on behalf of all Denver Broncos fans, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I this is one of the most anticipated weekends of football I've ever had. So I can't wait to watch these guys go down.
And then read the Rich Eisen Show comment section on Monday.
Yep.
And so we should look
or
for
maybe I'll do Overreaction Tuesday on Monday.
Ladies
I don't know how
and gentlemen,
you guys do it around here.
Jordan Palmer knows the program, which is part of the reason why we love him. Oh, by the way, congrats to your brother on everything going on with him, coaching it up. And
there's another internally motivated person who could care less about the fact that he was voted National Coach of the Year his first time ever coaching. This is not a guy who ran a great 8th grade and 7th grade football program. This is a guy who stepped into coaching for the first time. But that's another. Sam and Carson I've known Carson my whole life, and Sam since he was 14. They're eerily similar. Internally motivated. Carson's worried about next year.
Okay. Jordan, you're the man. We'll chat soon.
Thanks, guys.
You got it. Ladies and gentlemen, Jordan Palmer, founder of QB Summit. And he's going back to coach some of his charges out there on the field. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.